My husband, male 33, adores his mom. He's the only child in the family and they're very close. He'd buy her expensive gifts for her birthday, but this year he's been stressing out about finding a good gift for her. Since he's been unemployed for 6 months, he brought up the jewelry set my mom gave me and asked if I was willing to give it away so he could use it as a gift for his mom's birthday. I said no and thought that his request was strange. He pointed out how many other things I have of mom's, which is true, but the jewelry set wasn't something I was willing to give away, especially not to his mom. He got upset, pitched a fit, and kept begging me to give it to him. He even offered to buy it off of me, but he had no money, so he suddenly stopped bringing it up. On the day he left for his trip to go visit his mom and attend her birthday, I found a small note that he wrote mentioning he took the jewelry set with him and telling me not to panic or do anything stupid and that we would talk about it when he gets back. I was furious but felt helpless. I thought I was never going to see the set again. I called his phone, but he turned it off after hanging up on me. So I called my older cousin, who works at the local police station, and told him what happened. He suggested I make a report so he could help me to retrieve it. He then sent a police patrol to the airport where my husband was, and he was taken in and his ticket was cancelled. I got the jewelry set back and he eventually was let go, but when he got home it all broke loose and he started yelling at me while cussing out my cousin, calling him a stuck-up ... saying we were both horrible and out of line and that I knew my cousin hates him and this gave him an opportunity to humiliate him. He then yelled about how he missed his mom's birthday and had his trip ruined because I hate his mom this much. I don't hate her, but I don't want my stuff given away on my behalf. He was livid to the point where he went to stay with his buddy for 2 days without answering any of my calls. I'm seriously having regrets about it, but what was I supposed to do after he took my jewelry set and had me thinking that I may never see it again? Getting my cousin involved might have also just worsened his relationship with my husband since they never have been on good terms to begin with. Am I the idiot for involving the police to get the jewelry back? Not the idiot, let him stay with his buddies. Forever. He's jobless and mooching off you. What the heck is wrong with him? On no planet is his behaviour justified. I think it's time to consider whether you want to stay married to someone who feels it's okay to steal from you to get his mother's approval. He clearly needs therapy. Maybe this incident is the wake-up call you both needed. If you have to call the police on your own husband, I would be rethinking my relationship with that person. OMG, his audacity to ask you to not do anything stupid. He did something incredibly stupid and heartless, stealing from his partner. Out of curiosity, is this his first time doing stuff like this? Not respecting your opinions, your possessions, and most importantly, your explicit no? Also, be prepared for him to throw you under the bus potentially. If his family comes for you, make sure to state that his gift for Mother Dearest was stolen goods. Everyone's the idiot here. He stole that jewelry after you specifically told him he couldn't have it, so he deserves the consequences. I say you might be wrong because you could have called his mom, explained the situation, and requested that she send them back. I suspect the damage to your marriage will be too much to repair, but that's probably a good thing if his mother is so important that he'd steal something from you. Disagree. There's no way this marriage could be saved. OP, do not feel sorry. Do not think you did something wrong. Do not give him anything to apologize for. And don't let him back in the house. He stole from you. Not only that, but he stole something that your mother gave you without regard to what this would do to you. He's shown you that you don't matter. Believe him. Please consider divorcing him and sending him packing to his mom's. You're clearly not a priority to him. I, female 30, recently inherited a terraced house from my late child-free aunt. With the housing market being what it is, I've decided to move into the house permanently for the foreseeable future. It's a lovely house in a nice area, so why not? It has a pretty neat driveway, but there's one problem. One of the neighbours, female 35, keeps parking in the driveway. I talked to her politely about it, and she explained that my aunt used to let her park in the driveway because my aunt didn't have a car, whereas she and her husband have a car each, and their driveway can only fit one car. I don't drive either, but I don't want her parking there because I'm disabled and use crutches to get around. So when the neighbour parks in the driveway, the space around her car is quite narrow, making it very difficult for me to get to my front door and putting me at risk of injury. I tried to explain this to the neighbour and asked her if she could please find somewhere else to park her car. She seemed to understand, but didn't promise anything. Well, she kept parking in the driveway. I talked to her again and she said she couldn't park elsewhere because it would be too far to walk to their house, and said she has 3 young children who frequently travel in her car. I got kind of annoyed because I felt like she didn't want to change her habits, but I'm a bit shy and not good at confrontation, and just told her I hope she could figure something out that doesn't involve parking in my driveway. Well, a few days ago when I was coming home from work, she parked her car in my driveway again. However, this time her car was parked really forward and super close to my front door, making it pretty much impossible for me to get into my own house. Even a non-disabled person wouldn't be able to get in. There was no space to even open the front door. It opens outwards. Here's what probably makes me an idiot. I was furious and tired of the situation, so without trying to talk to the neighbour again, I called the police on a non-emergency number, explained the situation, and they showed up and towed my neighbour's car. Obviously, she was furious when she found out and showed up at my door the next day. She said I'm inconsiderate and should learn how to compromise, and that if I asked her to, she would have moved her car. I don't believe her. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Should learn how to compromise. Is that expression ever used other than idiots who are not getting their way? Every time I see it deployed, the compromise is that the idiot gets everything they want and you get screwed. The compromise is, you won't park in her front yard. OP should compromise by putting one of those heavy garden benches in the middle of her driveway so no one can park there, and she can sit and enjoy her property in peace. I don't believe for a second that the neighbour innocently parked so close you couldn't even open your front door. They were trying to punish you. They played silly idiot and you clapped back. Good on you. Though beware that they will try to retaliate. Also, one thing I notice is, neighbour can't park her car further because of kids, but then, why don't they park her car in their driveway and the husband walks a few minutes to his? How about this compromise? You don't park in my driveway and I won't have you towed. I call that a win-win. She expected a disabled person to hobble over to her house to ask her to move the car. You were more than patient, and now she can go and see if the towing company wants to compromise with her. I don't really know the full details, but my son broke up with his girlfriend for college due to the distance. He didn't show any emotions, but it was clear that he was a bit sad. I mean, I get it, they were together for 2 years and she was a sweet girl. I was also aware that they had planned on staying friends. Well, it's been a while since he left and it's been pretty hard. He's having loads of fun though, so I'm glad. Anyway, yesterday his ex-girlfriend knocked at our door. I let her in and, well, she just started bawling. Obviously, I comforted her and asked if everything was okay, and she told me that she thought my son had found a new girl. I already knew because when my husband and I called him the day before, his dad made a joke about girls, and the way he acted seemed like there was someone. I didn't know what to say, so I just said I was sorry, but she kept crying and told me about how she didn't think he'd move on that fast, and how he doesn't talk to her anymore. She then showed me a picture of my son with a girl he apparently likes. My husband was uncomfortable, and my other son also had some friends over, so the situation was peculiar. And again, what do I say to that? I took her outside and told her that I was sorry, but maybe she should talk to her own mother or friends about this. She got really wide-eyed and said, "You don't think what he's doing is wrong?" So I just sighed and said, "Listen, stuff happens, but life goes on. I got over it, you will and should as well." I thought I did pretty well considering the circumstances, but she began to cry even louder. She called me terrible and said she expected me to be more understanding since I've known her as my son's girlfriend for 2 years. If I can throw her away like this, then it's no wonder my son can. She called me a mean person before getting in her car and driving away. I didn't expect the reaction, so I'm slightly surprised. I suppose I could have been more understanding, but I didn't want to give her false hope. My husband doesn't really care, he's just happy she left, but my sister thinks I'm stupid because the girl didn't come over to get a reality check, she just wanted some support. I didn't even mean for my words to come off as a reality check, but maybe I did come across as mean. Am I the idiot? The correct answer to her question is, you are no longer a couple, so of course, he can date someone new. You gave her an even milder answer, along with the good advice that she should be turning to her family and friends rather than her ex-boyfriend's mother. Not the idiot, OP, you have nothing to feel bad about. Why does your sister think it's your job to give her some support? What would support sound like? Yeah, my son is a jerk for not wanting to be in a long-distance relationship. Who raised him? I don't know the young lady, but I'd be willing to bet she was there to enlist your aid in getting them back together. I'm sure she's a sweet girl, but I wouldn't touch that with a 10-foot pole. Agree. I think she was expecting his mom to call him to task and make him not date until she was ready. Also, I wouldn't call that a reality check. It sounds like you were completely logical and just stated facts. She wanted you to take her side over your own son. Nope, not gonna happen. He didn't cheat, he didn't leave her broke and pregnant, and he didn't assault her. He found another girl after they broke up. So normal. Breakups hurt, but it's part of life, and you need to be an adult through pain. That's where adulting really happens. My boyfriend was at the laundromat doing our laundry, and he left behind my bra washing bag. It contained all 7 of my regular bras, but thankfully none of my sports bras, which get washed normally. When I realized what had happened, I made him return to the laundromat and look for them, but unfortunately they were gone, and the shop owner said there was probably no way to get them back. I wear a 32 K-cup bra. This is not exactly a bra size you can just walk into Target and find. I generally have to order my bras from places like Curvy Kate. More than that, I'd finally gotten to the point where I knew what style bras fit me comfortably, and those 7 bras were ones I'd specifically chosen because they fit me well and look good on me. When I asked him to please replace them since he's the one who lost them, he initially agreed until I sent him links to each of the bras, minus one no longer made, and the cost was nearly $400. He told me he would be happy to replace 1 or 2 of them, but I was spending way too much on bras and he couldn't justify the cost. I said that while it's not ideal, I could accept it if he could buy me the 2 I need the most and then, over time, replace the others. But he said no, that's not any better. I told him that when I accidentally spilled car oil all over his college hoodie, I went right out and immediately replaced it, even though it was from the school bookshop, so it was incredibly overpriced. He said that was completely different. He took this issue to his sister, who agreed with him that I overspend on bras and should try harder to find something that fits at the mall. Am I the idiot for this? Should I accept this? Not the idiot. Tell your boyfriend and his sister to hop over to the mall and find some bras with a K-cup. Tell them to check every store and not to return without one. They could spend days searching the mall and not find a single bra in your size, especially a K-cup with a small band size. You need to replace more than the bras. Seriously, and even with the small size cups, bras can be really uncomfortable. I'm also a K and I still have yet to find a bra that doesn't poke, pinch, leave welts and just cause general misery. I'm a total cheapskate, but I spend money on bras, shoes and a bed. Those 3 are critical. They are ridiculous to tell her she's spending too much to find the comfort they take for granted. OP, if this isn't breakup worthy for you, at least tell him he has lost all access to your Ks until he replaces all of the bras. Yeah, I'm in the throw the whole man away camp because he clearly doesn't know enough about women to be in a long-term relationship. However, I can't believe his sister agreed with him. As a rule, men have no idea what bras cost. He lost them, he should replace them. Tell him you will flatten all his tires but only pay to replace 1. Ask him how that would work for him. Then tell him he spends too much on tires. My daughter recently returned from college and my sister joined us all for dinner. We all went to the Cheesecake Factory and everyone thoroughly enjoyed themselves. We all got full regular entrees, no salad, enjoyed the bread, and even got dessert. Just to paint the picture, it was a complete meal. When we get home, my sister goes to the fridge and pulls out a rack of brownies that she baked and then gets the ice cream too. My wife and I tell Rachel, not her real name, "Thank you for the brownies, but we're good." My daughter also says I'll have some tomorrow, Aunt Rachel, but I'm stuffed for today. Rachel is okay, gets a big bowl for herself and some ice cream, and then keeps asking my daughter to have a spoonful. My daughter says, "No, really, I'm good." Then Rachel says, "Oh, did your parents say you can't have any?" She says, "Hey, Aunt Rachel, no, I just don't want to eat so late. Plus, I'm full." It was getting weird. I could tell my daughter was uncomfortable. I say, "Rachel, thank you so much for the brownies, but we don't like to eat so late." This was when it got weird. I'm guessing Rachel took it as all of us ganging up on her. I could see her forehead was getting sweaty, and she says it's toxic you taught your teenage daughter diet culture, just so she could look good for men and fit into white beauty standards. I got really annoyed by this, and I told Rachel we encouraged our daughter to lose weight so she would be healthy. We have a family history of diabetes, and there's a reason why you have diabetes and I don't, and why my daughter won't either. And after this, it just got really bad. She started crying like crazy and said she was just standing up for young women. She ends up leaving shortly after. My wife tells me I was being too harsh, and my daughter says that she's sad that Aunt Rachel was crying because she knows she wants the best. I feel like it's a really weird place. My sister doesn't have a family of her own, and she really wants someone whom she can mentor like a child too, and we've had tons of aunt-niece days, but I'm really questioning her judgment these days. She works in education policy and helped my daughter a ton when it came to colleges. But for me, I feel like Rachel wants my daughter to be like her, and in a way be fat too and undo my daughter's weight loss. I know that could have been really embarrassing for Rachel. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot, you have a valid point. Part of being healthy is to have healthy relationships with food, including knowing when you're full and when you shouldn't push your stomach. And I'm not too fond of the fact that the sister wouldn't take no for an answer. That's not advocating for women. It's not advocating for anything. OP's sister recognized that she was overindulging and wanted someone to do it with her so that she could justify it and not feel guilty. You see the same thing around people drinking, trying to push it on others so they aren't the lone idiot who doesn't know when they've had too much. Far be it from me to determine what other people's eating habits should be, but trying to push someone into doing something they're doing so that they can assuage themselves is an ugly look, regardless of the activity. OP, what your sister was saying to you was over the top. She wasn't listening to no, which is a complete sentence, then went after you with the subtext of self-loathing and misogyny in her white culture comment. You could have been nicer, maybe, but to be honest, if someone told me in front of my teenage daughter that I was toxically prepping her for men's use, I wouldn't be polite either. You gave your sister some tough love. It's the first warning, but she may be surprised when you cut contact if she can't respect your and your daughter's boundaries.